WrestleMania X8, WrestleMania 18. Uh, yeah, this WrestleMania, in my opinion, was very average at best. I mean, outside of Rock and Hogan, it's pretty little overrated. A little overrated, and in my opinion, it was just to be honest with you, the crowd was incredibly dull. Aside from the Rock and Hogan match, which is, in my opinion, just absolutely sickening to my stomach because the crowd is supposed to be as hot can be. Um, why go to this event and just cheer for one match only? Yeah, memorable for all the wrong reasons, and will be looked at as a missed opportunity more than anything else. Definitely another missed opportunity that should have happened, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Now let's start out with WrestleMania 18. Starting out with the Intercontinental title match with RVD Rob Van Dam going up against William Regal. And in my opinion, this is one of the most underrated WrestleMania openers of all time. It was really good, but stopped just as it was getting pretty good, unfortunately. The styles contrasted well, and Regal put in some sick moves on RVD, but RVD in the end wins with the 5-star frog splash. Very good match. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Now we get the European Championship match. DDP going up against Christian. Diamond Dallas Page going up against Christian. Amusing, if not the best. For what it was, I had some okay fun with it. But with one of the best in Christian and the capable performer in DDP, it should have been a lot better. DDP wins with a diamond cutter, and Christian back in the day used to throw all these temper tantrum, but kind of still wish he did those today. But Christian throws a temper tantrum, and it was just hilarious. Christian, yeah, it was just hilarious. He needs to bring those back. All right, now we get the hardcore title match. We get Maven defending his hardcore title against Goldust. This is a pretty nice pop for Maven, believe it or not. The match itself was pretty crappy, and except for a sick bump when Goldust threw Maven against the barricade. And this was still during the time of the 24/7 rule, so the title could be on the line 24/7 if the other wrestler had a referee. So Spike Dudley comes out and wins the title. After some rather underwhelming hardcore action with a bunch of competitors going at it. Al Snow goes after Spike. He is unsuccessful. Hurricane swoops in and wins the title. Then after this is all throughout the night. Then Mighty Molly turns on her mentor and wins the hardcore title, but runs to the back. And then Christian opens has a door open on Molly Holly. He wins the hardcore title, and then in the end of the night, Maven wins back the hardcore title from beating Christian. So pretty cool to see the hardcore title, 24/7 title on the line. Especially at WrestleMania. All right, now we get the next match was Kurt Angle versus Kane. Pretty big pop for Kurt Angle's entrance. The crowd seemed to be on Angle's side. One of the best matches of the show, believe it or not. Kane held his own against Kurt Angle, and the end result ended up being very exciting, actually. Now, the only thing I would have added to this match, we never got to see Kevin Nash wrestle that much, so I would have added Kevin Nash to this match to make it a triple threat match. So have Kane versus Kurt Angle versus Kevin Nash. I thought that would have been pretty cool. But either way, this match, Kurt Angle wins with his feet up on the ropes. Now we get the no disqualification match: Ric Flair versus The Undertaker. A pretty big pop for both men. Wrestling wise, it's not a classic, but for a bloody, no holds barred brawl, it's pretty top notch when you look at it. Ric Flair proved he could hang with Taker's style, and he took some pretty sick bumps. Arn Anderson, the Enforcer AA, makes a cool appearance, but in the end, Undertaker wins with a tombstone pile driver, And Undertaker at this point is a perfect 10-0. I think this is just when I think it was X17 or 18 where the announcers finally started to realize that the Undertaker was on a WrestleMania streak, and they finally acknowledged it at least. Okay, now we get to a average match. Oh wait, what? Yeah, pretty average match. Edge versus Booker T. Huge pop for Edge because Toronto is his hometown, but the crowd is pretty much dead once it's here though. It's okay for what it was. Nothing too horrible, nothing too exciting. Edge wins with the execution. Now we got Scott Hall versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Decent pop for both guys, especially the NWO. The crowd is pretty mixed here. Match-wise, is nothing great, but the antics and the odds against Stone Cold made it pretty fun here. Yeah. Stone Cold wins with some stunners, and the crowd gets the loudest they have been all night for Austin's celebration victory, other than Rock and Hogan. And Austin and Stone Cold definitely deserve better here. But we'll get to that in just a little bit. All right, now we got the Four Corners Elimination Tag Team match for the Tag Team Championships. Billy and Chuck versus the Dudley Boyz versus the Hardy Boyz and the APA. The crowd is extremely dead for this, and the match itself is a pretty big failure. Why not another TLC match? Honestly, I think that would have been a lot better, to be honest with you. It never really flowed properly, and I often found myself looking at my watch for the 13 minutes that it had on. Billy and Chuck win with using cheating to retain. Nothing too special here. Now we get the triple threat match for the women's title. Trish Stratus versus Lena versus Jazz. Pretty nice hometown pop for Trish Stratus. Things are bad when the women outperform the men in half of these matches. Especially on this card. You won't get better women's wrestling than this. Outside of a couple botches, I have no complaints. Except for the fact that the wrong girl won. Jazz ends up retaining her title. I thought it would be the perfect way to have Trish Stratus win the championship in her own hometown, but that didn't happen because WWE once again missed a golden opportunity. Now, I'm gonna talk about the undisputed title because I think that the Rock Hogan match should have main evented, so I'm going to save that for last. So, the undisputed title match between Chris Jericho and Triple H. And Triple H's ego gets in the way again with this match that should not have main evented, for sure. It's not bad, but it should have been a lot more exciting for a WrestleMania main event. Jericho was a fine choice, but they just never gelled together. They just never really gelled together, and the crowd could care less. Triple H wins with a pedigree, and he is the undisputed championship. He wins the undisputed championship after coming back from his quad injury, and Stephanie McMahon also gets a pedigree. Now we get to the match that should have been the main event: The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. Now, before I talk about this match, I want to talk about the biggest missed opportunity, in my opinion. You have Hulk Hogan come back to the WWF. He hasn't been there in over almost 8 years. And, Hulk Hogan's there. And you have Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the biggest star in the Attitude Era. And they are supposed to have the dream match that everyone was looking forward to. But WWE, once again, missed a golden opportunity. But instead, we get The Rock. I'm not complaining. This match, for what it was very good. Loud pop for Hogan, mixed reaction for The Rock. The crowd is firmly behind Hulk Hogan, erupting every time he moved, it seemed. Match-wise, it's above average at best, But the electricity and the ramifications of it all was just amazing. I mean, yeah, it was just amazing. Hogan, for once, was a class act during and after the match. The right man, I thought, went over here. And this should have main evented the pay-per-view, for sure. I'm going to keep saying that until the day I die. Hogan versus Rock should have main evented WrestleMania X8. After the match, Hogan and Rock embrace after the match, with the NWO turning on Hogan, and Hogan turning face once again, hulking up, doing the ear pose, and yeah. So, either way, WrestleMania X8 is a failure in a lot of people's minds for many reasons. The NWO storyline had so much potential, but it was just so overblown that it could never work. It could never work out, especially in the WWF. The event itself feels pretty boring. The crowd is just depressing. You can see Rock Hogan anywhere, and while this card is good, it's not really worth going out all your way for. It's worth take a look for curiosity's sake, but that's about it. So, out of 10, WrestleMania X8, I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10. Best match of the night, hands down, Hogan versus Rock. And my least favorite match was probably the hardcore title match. All the hardcore title matches put together. So that's WrestleMania X8 at 18. Coming up next, we get to my favorite WrestleMania, WrestleMania 19. Oh boy, I'm really looking forward to this one.